if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that.
For months, this case has been wrapped in silence, not just the kind of silence that comes from unanswered questions, but a calculated, suffocating silence. It's been hidden behind official statements that reveal nothing, tangled timelines that seem designed to confuse, and families who, for reasons we may never fully understand, refuse to speak. 2 children, Lily and Jack Sullivan, vanished without warning. No footprints leading away from the house. No sounds in the night. No trace of a struggle. No trace of them at all. It's as if they were here one moment, and gone the next. The adults who were meant to protect them told us everything was normal. That nothing was wrong. That there was no reason to worry. But now, months later, someone else is speaking. A neighbor. A man who says he was there that night, close enough to hear voices through the dark, close enough to catch words he can't stop replaying in his head. And what he says he heard changes everything. He claims he overheard a fight behind the house. Not muffled voices. Not casual conversation. A fight. Sharp words thrown back and forth in the stillness of the night. Not about babysitting. Not about chores. It wasn't about dishes left in the sink or who would take the kids to school the next morning. It was about who would take the children. He says Daniel shouted, "You're not taking them." A voice thick with anger, maybe fear. Malaya answered, "They're leaving with me tomorrow, whether you like it or not." Her tone, cold, steady, determined. Then, a door slammed. And silence. A silence so heavy, it felt unnatural. He never told police. He never told the press. For months, he kept it to himself, carrying those words alone, wondering if they meant more than just a family argument. Now, he says he wants to clear his conscience. But why wait this long? And why speak now, when the children have been gone for so many months? Daniel's story has always been the same. Around 3 o'clock, they took the kids to get pizza, a simple family outing, nothing unusual, nothing to suggest the night would be anything but ordinary. They came home. He worked on the fence outside, hammering in nails, moving between the yard and the tool shed, the sun dipping lower in the sky. By evening, the children were in bed. Quiet. Uneventful. That's how he's told it from the very beginning. No arguments. No shouting. No reason to think the next morning would be any different from the last. But the new statement changes everything. Because at 7:30 p.m., the night before the disappearance, there was no peaceful bedtime. There was a custody fight, sharp, heated, and deeply personal. Maybe the last confrontation before Lily and Jack were gone. A moment that, if true, turns Daniel's calm, consistent story into something else entirely, a cover for what really happened inside that house. Why were they arguing? Possibility 1. Custody dispute. Malaya planned to leave with the kids the next morning. Daniel tried to stop her. Possibility 2, fear of exposure. Allegations of abuse, neglect, or drug use were about to come to light, and someone wanted to stop it. Possibility 3, a planned escape gone wrong. Malaya was preparing to take the children away quietly, but Daniel found out. Whatever the reason, it wasn't random. It started inside the home. The new witness split Landown Station in two. Before his statement, there was Unity, a town small enough for everyone to know each other's first name, where neighbors waved from their porches and news of the search for Lily and Jack passed from hand to hand like something fragile. For months, they shared the same hope. They believed the same story. Daniel's story. But then, a single interview changed that. The man who had been silent for so long, suddenly speaking on camera, describing a fight no one else claimed to have heard. He said the voices were sharp, tense, echoing in the still air between the houses. Daniel's words, "You're not taking them." Malaya's answer, "They're leaving with me tomorrow, whether you like it or not." Some see him as the missing puzzle piece, the one person who can fill the gap in the timeline between that calm evening Daniel described and the moment the children were reported missing. They say his memory is too detailed to be made up. That his hesitation to come forward wasn't cowardice, but fear of getting dragged into something much darker than a custody dispute. But others, they think he's lying for attention. They point to the timing. Why speak now, months after the disappearance? Why not go to the police the very next morning? Some even whisper that he's trying to settle old grudges, that there's bad blood between him and Daniel from years back. Old fences that were never mended, literally and figuratively. Now, trust has collapsed. The same people who once walked side by side in search parties now cross the street to avoid each other. Neighbors keep their blinds shut, afraid of being asked what they believe. Some have stopped answering the door altogether. The local diner, once the place where flyers for Lily and Jack's search were stacked in neat piles, is now where whispered arguments break out over coffee. The question isn't just "Where are the children?" anymore. It's "Who's telling the truth?" Friends no longer speak. Families have been split by their answers. Parents tell their children to stay inside, not just because Lily and Jack are gone, but because they don't trust the people living next door. And the search for Lily and Jack feels less like a coordinated mission, and more like a battle over who to believe. One side believes Daniel, the grieving father who's kept his story straight from the start. The other believes the neighbor, the man with a story no one wanted to hear, but that now can't be ignored. Both can't be right. And if one is lying, it means someone in Landown Station knows exactly what happened to Lily and Jack, and has been keeping that truth buried. Then there's the wooden bridge on Landown Road, a quiet spot no one noticed until a metallic star sticker, identical to one on Lily's jacket, was found there. At first glance, the bridge is nothing remarkable. It's old, planks weathered to a silvery gray by years of rain and sun. The handrails lean ever so slightly, warped by time, and the creek beneath runs shallow, trickling over smooth stones. If you drive past it, you might not even realize you've crossed it. For locals, it's just part of the scenery, a place you don't stop unless your car breaks down. But all of that changed the moment search teams found it. Not the bridge itself, but something lying half-hidden in the dirt beside the first plank, a small, metallic star sticker. A sticker so ordinary it could have been overlooked by anyone, except for one detail. It was identical to the one sewn onto Lily's favorite denim jacket. The jacket she wore in the last confirmed photo of her before she disappeared. The discovery shifted the search instantly. For days, search teams combed the area, volunteers wading through the creek, dogs sniffing along the banks, officers moving methodically through the surrounding brush. Every footprint, every scrap of fabric, every broken twig was examined. But no other trace of Lily or Jack was found. Still, the sticker became a symbol, a fragile clue in a case with almost nothing tangible to hold on to. Some saw it as proof the children had been there. Others said it was coincidence, a sticker could have fallen off her jacket weeks before, maybe even months. The debate over that single piece of adhesive foil was fierce. But it refused to fade from the public's mind. With this new testimony, the bridge takes on darker meaning. It's no longer just a random search location. It could be a piece of a larger puzzle. If the neighbor's story is true, if there was a confrontation that night over who would take the children, then the bridge becomes more than just scenery on a quiet road. Was it part of a planned route? A place Malaya might have driven toward, taking the children under cover of darkness? The path into the next chapter of a carefully prepared escape? Or was it something else entirely, a hiding place after a confrontation turned deadly? A remote spot to stop, think, and decide what to do next before anyone noticed they were gone. The more investigators looked at it, the more unsettling questions emerged. The bridge sits just far enough from the Sullivan home to be out of sight, but close enough to reach in minutes. It connects two routes, one leading back toward town, the other deeper into the countryside where fewer cameras, fewer witnesses, and fewer lights could track a car's movements. At night, it's pitch black. Only the sound of the creek and the occasional rustle of wind in the trees. If you stand on it, you can see the headlights of an approaching car long before it arrives. For someone who wanted to avoid being followed. Then there's the wooden bridge on Landown Road, a quiet spot no one noticed until a metallic star sticker, identical to one on Lily's jacket, was found there. The bridge sits low over a narrow creek, its wooden planks faded to a silvery gray, some split by years of rain and frost. The metal bolts are rusting, the railings slightly warped, leaning toward the water as though they've been slowly bowing under time's weight. In daylight, it feels harmless. Almost picturesque. The sort of place you might stop to take a photo if you were in no hurry. But at night, it's different. It's silent. Too silent. The surrounding trees crowd in close, their branches tangling overhead, blocking out the moonlight. When a car passes, its headlights cut briefly through the darkness, then vanish, leaving only the sound of water and the low groan of the wood beneath your feet. No one in Landown Station ever paid attention to the bridge. It wasn't on the main road. It wasn't a meeting spot. Just another forgotten landmark in a small town full of them. Until the sticker. It was found by a volunteer on the third day of the search, a small, metallic star, its edges slightly bent, clinging stubbornly to the damp wood at the base of the first plank. It might have looked like nothing to anyone else, except for the fact that it matched, perfectly, the same kind of star sewn onto the front of Lily's denim jacket. The jacket she was last seen wearing. Search teams combed the area for days. They swept the creek bed, the banks, the undergrowth on either side. Dogs were brought in, handlers moving in slow arcs, letting the animals sniff every inch of soil and wood. Divers waded into the cold, murky water beneath, feeling along the stones for anything that might have been thrown in. They found nothing else. Some believed the sticker was proof, a breadcrumb left behind, whether by accident or struggle. Others dismissed it. A sticker could have fallen off any time, one officer said. It doesn't mean she was here that night. But to the families, to the people desperate for answers, it was something. And in a case built almost entirely on silence, something was everything. With this new testimony, the bridge takes on darker meaning. The neighbor's claim of a fight the night before changes the picture. Suddenly the bridge is no longer a random place on a search map. It becomes a possible link in the chain of events. Was it part of a planned route? A stop along the way if someone intended to leave town with the children? The bridge's location would make sense, out of sight from main roads, but connecting to two very different directions, one leading toward the highway and escape, the other into deep rural backroads where no one would think to look. Or was it a hiding place after a confrontation turned deadly? A place to pause, think, decide what to do next before returning home with a story already prepared. Those questions still hang over Landown Station. And every time. If the police act, this statement could mean re-interviews, GPS checks, and fresh looks at overlooked evidence. Detectives might return to every person connected to that night, not just Daniel and Malaya, but friends, extended family, and anyone who stepped foot near that house on Landown Station. They could pull digital data from phones, mapping out every call, every text, every social media login. Vehicle GPS records could be examined again, this time with the possibility of a custody fight in mind. And then there's the evidence that was once deemed unimportant. Things bagged and shelved, filed away under no direct link. A receipt, a scrap of fabric, a faint footprint in mud, all of it could be seen differently now, reframed by the idea that May 1st wasn't calm, it was boiling. If they don't, the case could sink back into silence. The witness's words could be swallowed by the same void that has smothered so many other leads. A void filled with rumor, mistrust, and the ache of waiting. And with each day that passes, whatever trail existed grows colder, harder to follow, more likely to vanish entirely. One man's words could break the case open, or bury it deeper. If the fight happened, May 1st was the boiling point, the moment when years of tension, fear, and unspoken threats erupted into something that could not be undone. A turning point that might explain every strange detail since. If it didn't, we've just lost more precious time. Hours and days that should be spent following solid evidence could instead be burned chasing a story that leads nowhere. Time the children, if they're still alive, do not have. 2 children are still missing. And now we must ask. Is this man finally telling the truth no one else dared to say? Or is he just another voice in the storm? The storm is real. It's the constant churn of theories, accusations, and half-whispered suspicions that has divided Landown Station since the moment Lily and Jack disappeared. Some believe this new voice could be the one that finally cuts through the noise, the one that turns fragments into a clear picture. Others think it's just more thunder, loud, dramatic, but fading quickly into the distance without bringing the rain they need. In the middle of it all, 2 names remain at the center: Lily Sullivan, Jack Sullivan. Children who have not been seen in months. Children whose faces are still taped to street poles, posted in shop windows, glowing on phone screens in the hands of strangers who never met them but can't forget them. Whether this man is the missing link or just another distraction, the storm rages on. And the clock keeps ticking.